Hello and welcome to Mock Draft Week. This is our first, and it is a 3-rounder, so we have to get right into it and get cooking. Not even going to ask Tyler how his day was. Welcome to the Weeball Podcast. Let's get going. I have the evens. Tyler has the odds with the first pick in the 2023 Weeball 3-round mock draft. Tyler DeSantis selects
Bryce Young, quarterback at Alabama. I think this one doesn't need much of an explanation. Seems like it's going in that direction. I decided to stick with the chalk. I'm taking Bryce Young.
So this is a new direction that has shown up rather recently. The Texans are going with Will Anderson here. We're going to kind of burn through the first round if there isn't a trade involved. And speaking of trades, I'm going to call you on the phone for this next pick.
Okay. So I'm taking the role of Arizona here.
Let's
see who is calling.
I'm taking the role of the Tennessee Titans.
Okay.
I'm going to give you 11, 41, and a first rounder next year for 3 and 105.
105 is a fourth, right?
It is the beginning of the fourth round, yes.
Okay. So you're giving me a 1, a 2, and a 1 next year, and I'm giving you this 1 and a 4.
Yes.
Okay. Sure. That works.
Okay.
Move back down to what, 11 you said?
Yes. So
Sounds
with number
good.
3 pick, CJ Stroud. They can win now. They just need a quarterback. Who knows what happens with Tannehill? Who knows what happens with Malik? Let's see what happens. This is going to be fun.
Okay. Well, it is also your pick again with another AFC South team.
And I'm going Will Levis. I feel like it's just going to happen. I feel bad for AR in this situation. But Tyler, you are up on the clock with the Seattle Seahawks.
It's number 5 overall, and my QB1 is still on the board. And what is a better scenario for Anthony Richardson than being able to sit behind a quarterback that has no risk, essentially, of losing his job this year? AR can sit, work on the footwork, work on all the things he needs to get better at, and then play next year. I'm taking Anthony Richardson at 5.
Seattle Seahawks have Anthony Richardson, Drew Lock, and Geno Smith. What
Best QB rotation.
What a fun QB room. What a fun QB room.
Now 3 QB next year.
All right. With number 6, the Detroit Lions select Tyree Wilson because I don't trust that Jalen Carter has his life figured out right now. That sounds horrible, but it's the reality of our situation.
Yeah, that makes sense. Up next, it's the Las Vegas Raiders. And let's go out and let's go, do what the Raiders do best. Go get physical players, guys who just, talk a lot of smack and they back it up. Devon Witherspoon out of Illinois. He's not my corner one, but I think he's an awesome fit here. Somebody who can play close to the line of scrimmage, make plays in the run game. Enough said.
All right. Number 8. I just said I don't know what I would do with Jalen Carter. Well, I know what I'm doing here because the Falcons love players from Georgia and they need desperate help on the defensive line. Ipso facto, Jalen Carter.
Okay.
Everybody knows that doing prospect interviews, talking on a podcast 2-3 times a week, it comes with a necessary confidence that you have to have. And one thing that really improves confidence is the new and improved Performance Package 4.0 by MANSCAPED. It has arrived, and oh man, is it a game changer. Inside this package, you'll find their Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, Crop Preserver ball deodorant, Crop Reviver toner, Performance boxer briefs, and a travel bag to hold all of these goodies. First off, the Lawnmower 4.0. This trimmer is the future of grooming and, dare I say, the greatest ball trimmer ever. I am blown away by the performance and craftsmanship of this trimmer. Their 4th generation trimmer offers cutting-edge ceramic blade to help reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology. Their Lawnmower 4.0 is waterproof and also has a 4000K LED spotlight so you can get a more precise shave. Because this trimmer is waterproof, you can say goodbye to the mess on the bathroom floor. If you thought that was good but want to take your grooming even further to the next level, the Performance Package 4.0 also includes the Weed Whacker ears and nose hair trimmer. The Weed Whacker is also waterproof and provides proprietary skin-safe technology which helps reduce nicks, snags, and tugs in those delicate nose holes. The Crop Preserver below the waist deodorant and Crop Reviver below the waist toner will change the way you approach your daily hygiene routine. Manscaped even threw in 2 free gifts in this Performance Package 4.0, the boxers and the shed travel bag. Bring your comfort in boxers to another level. It's time to take care of yourself. Go to manscaped.com and get 20% off with code WEBALL. That is WEBALL, WEBALL. Make sure to use it on your next purchase with Manscaped for 20% off.
I'm picking up the phone again, Tyler, for pick number 9 here. And it is the Washington Commanders with their new owner trying to make a splash in their first day, in the sunlight type thing. And I'm going to offer you 16 and 47 for pick 9 straight up.
Okay, so we're picking up an extra 2.
Yes.
And I have to say, putting you on mute for a second. I like the tackles here, but I also understand that there's Christian Gonzalez and that there's value in probably a team going up to get him. So I don't think you guys would be taking a tackle. Yeah, sure, I'll do it.
Okay, so with pick 9, the reason we're trading up is because our cornerback 1 fell here to 9, and we wanted to get him before the Eagles could. So Christian Gonzalez, you are a Washington Commander.
Makes sense. It's a good pick. There's
I'm
not much
up
else
again.
to say. You are.
I'm going with Brian Branch. They tried to keep the secondary away from, the Eagles, but they still get a top-tier secondary player in Brian Branch.
Great pick. Obviously, Branch fits a need. They just lost Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. Moving on. It's now the Cardinals after trading down with the Titans. And you know what? The team's going into next year with Kyler Murray. Without Kyler Murray, really, because he's going to be out for most of the year. They don't have a lot of star power. They're going to be losing DeAndre Hopkins, Budda Baker. I'm going to go out and I'm going to get you a superstar. I'm going to go out and get you a top 5 player in this class. You might not love the position, but the player is phenomenal. And why not go out and get a guaranteed? What's the point in trying to swing for a home run when you've got a guaranteed double right in front of you? I'm taking Bijan Robinson.
There we go. Bijan is off the board. And we're going to keep going with skill position players here because you don't get your quarterback doesn't mean you can't build a wide receiver core for said quarterback of the future. If you're Houston Texans, this pick feels like a virtual lock. This is a pick that I would bet on happening. Jackson Smith-Njigba, you are a Houston Texan.
Awesome. And up next, it's the New York Jets.
I'm picking up the phone again. I'm picking up the phone a third time. I'm really going for it in this draft. I am going to, as the Pittsburgh Steelers, I'm going to offer you pick number 17.
Okay.
And pick number 80 because I got a guy that I really want.
So picking him a third. I mean, let me talk through this. We've got pretty much all the tackles are on the board. We have multiple that we like, and we understand that we might lose 2 of them because you guys are probably we're thinking it might be a tackle, and then Chicago traded down. They might get their pick of the litter, but at the same time, there's 3 guys we like and only 2 teams. We'll do it. We'll take the picks,
and we are gonna go with the tackle. Broderick Jones feels like a Pittsburgh Steeler, blue collar tackle. He's the true tackle of this group that we were talking about, those 3 guys. It just makes the most sense for the Steelers to try and move up to make sure they get that true tackle and don't get stuck with Peter Skoronski.
Yeah. Well, you're up next again.
Oh, I'm up again. Listen, I was listening to Bill at his coaching clinic, and he was doing a lot of talking about wide receivers. There's a pretty dang good wide receiver on the board, and his name is Quentin Johnston.
And
he's coming home.
That would be horrifying. I mean, think about that team, man. They've got
Mac Jones.
But I'm saying they've got a lot of big guys. They've got Mike Gesicki, Devontae Parker's still there. Now you're adding Quentin Johnston. There might just be the
Juju.
Dolphins plus Quentin Johnston and Juju, but whole different story. Moving on to 15, it's the Packers. You know what? We like getting those big athletes, those athletic guys, and nobody's talking about this dude. It's Miles Murphy. That's who we're taking. Edge, obviously.
Top player, man.
I still think that isn't necessarily the biggest need on this team, but Miles Murphy should probably not be available at this point. Way too talented to still be here. And go out and get an athlete. We're riding with Jordan Love in next year, probably looking to move Aaron Rodgers. let's go out and get somebody who can develop over time with Jordan Love as we fight to be a contender in the years coming.
All right. The Bears are up 16. They wanted a tackle. They traded down because they knew they could get one later. Paris Johnson, come play with Justin Fields. Come play with your Ohio State buddy. Just get it. You got to get it going. It makes the most sense. They need a tackle. They don't need a guard. So they're going with Paris Johnson Jr.
Yeah. And as the Jets, I'm kicking my feet up and I'm saying, hey, you might have taken the first 2 tackles. Those might be our tackle 1 and 2, but we've got a tier of tackles that we really like. And the last one of them was Peter Skronsky, somebody who can play inside and out if you don't like the arm length, but somebody who has all of the mobility, movement skills, and pass protection that you're looking for in that San Francisco style scheme that they run there. And obviously now with Nathaniel Hackett, things might change a bit, but I'm going out and I'm getting Peter Skronsky, and I'm feeling really comfortable about it at 17.
And I'm the Lions, and I'm running up to the podium because there isn't much to say about this pick. It's Deontay Banks.
Yeah, there isn't. Great pick. I'm running right back up to the podium. We already saw an edge go a couple picks before in Miles Murphy. I don't want to risk losing another one. I'm going out and I'm getting an athletic freak. We saw his combine. It's Nolan Smith if I'm the Bucks at 19.
I'm running right back up to the podium again because you took an edge, but there was an edge that I wanted at Seattle, and it's Lucas Van Ness. He's an athletic freak too, and we all know that they like the bigger athletic freaks in Seattle. So this feels like an ideal pick, and this is an ideal first round for Seattle.
Yeah, you're going out and you're getting 2 athletic freaks in Lucas Van Ness and AR, but I'm going out if I'm the Chargers, and I'm saying, hey, we just got Kellen Moore. We could use a tight end who can block and make plays in the pass game. Let's get somebody who can do a little bit of everything. And there's no better balance of that than Michael Mayer in this class. We love him. We think that he can be, a great weapon for us, a team that really could use another weapon. We're going out and we're getting baby Gronk at pick 21 for the Chargers.
That's a good pick. And speaking of good picks, I think that if this guy is here, this is another guy that the Ravens would run to the podium for because it's Joey Porter Jr. It just feels right. Like it just, this feels like a pick that they would make. They need some corner help, some secondary help in general, really. And there isn't a wide receiver here that you think moves Lamar at all. If I'm honest.
No, there's nobody here that is going to keep Lamar. If there was a receiver that was going to keep Lamar, it's the guy you signed in OBJ. Makes sense. Moving on, 23. It's the Vikings. And hey, I got Brian Flores as my defensive coordinator. And, he's got a little bit of a connection with some of those Clemson guys. He drafted Christian Wilkins with his first pick when he was in Miami. Maybe I'm calling back up that Clemson organization. I'm like, hey, what do you guys think about Brian Brzee at the next level? And, all the accounts are people are really high on Brian Brzee. Obviously had a really rough year last year with injuries and a lot of other stuff going on, but we think he can be a better pro than college player. Number 23, it's Brian Brzee coming to Minnesota.
I think it's a really good pick. Former number 1 overall player coming out of high school. Speaking of big guys on the line who are going to be really good, really, really good football players, you need a tackle for the rest of Trevor Lawrence's career. I got one for you, and his name is Darnell Wright. The Jaguars get their tackle to, make this guy happy, and you finally get someone that you can lock down for a few years that you won't have to pay right away. Just makes sense.
Yeah, and I think obviously somebody who can just be a standout right tackle. You lose Jawan Taylor. I think your starting right tackle is like Walker Little. Not exactly what you're looking for. Moving on to 25. This one's simple. Giants need a receiver, and they need somebody who can play inside and outside. They got a bunch of slot guys. They went out and they got Darren Waller, so tight end's not an issue. I'm taking Zay Flowers. In my opinion, one of the best receivers on the board still available, and somebody who has the potential to be an X in this system.
Yeah, Zay Flowers, very good football player. We signed a lot of slot guys, but Zay Flowers will play on the outside, even though he's small, because he can. He's just that good. Moving right along, you got to replace Leighton Vander Esch if you're Dallas. He's getting old, and to be honest with you, he's not good at football anymore. He just isn't. I'm going Jack Campbell. This is going to be probably the only, in real life, this is the only linebacker that gets off the board in the first round in my mind, because he's the only one that's worth it. So, here we go. Jack Campbell, you are a Dallas Cowboy.
And hey, we're the Buffalo Bills up at 27. And you might be thinking, hey, there's nobody that's going to make you sprint to the podium. But in Buffalo, I'm trying to reestablish what made us the Buffalo Bills in the past. It was those physical rushing attacks. We have to give Josh Allen some help. And what's better than that than getting him somebody up front? I'm taking Osiris Torrance out of Florida at 27. Enough said. I think that's the guy who can help us build a wall up front for Josh Allen, who really didn't have nearly enough help last year.
All right. Number 28. Listen, you were close. You almost made it to the Super Bowl for 2 straight years. Something got in your way, and now you lose Hayden Hurst. I'm going with Dalton Kincaid, my tight end one. I think he, just gives you another level of threat that now you have 3 really probably the best wide receiver core in football, second best if you want to get super technical. But with Dalton Kincaid, you probably have the best core of weapons in football.
For sure. Yeah.
So Dalton Kincaid, you are a Cincinnati Bengal. Simple as that.
With Joe Mixon, you certainly know a lot about weapons. But
all right, man.
Moving on to pick 29. The Saints, they love edges and they love big edges, guys who can play physical in the run game and in the pass game. Somebody we saw down in Mobile, Keon White. A lot of people really are high on him, and it seems like he's going to go in the first round. So why not come on down to the Big Easy and play for the New Orleans Saints?
Speaking of Mobile, Alabama, this is another Mobile guy, and I think this is a perfect pick for the Eagles. In Will McDonald, he's going to be a first-round player. In my mind, it's there. Him and Keon, I just think they have to be in the first round. And it's going to be in this area, and you're going to get better value than some of the guys picking, 5-10 spots ahead of you.
Yeah, and we're going to take another Mobile guy for the Chiefs here at 31. Obviously, you went out and you paid Jawan Taylor, but you lost a big tackle in Orlando Brown, and that was kind of a big part of your identity, was having somebody just that could wall off aside from Mahomes. And why not go get somebody who is a literal mountain of a man? It's DeJuan Jones out of Ohio State. I think there's a real chance he goes in the first round. And hey, it's a big need for Kansas City to go out and keep replenishing that line. That's what made it after they lost that Super Bowl against the Bucs. That's what made them able to go back and win another one. So 31 is DeJuan.
Welcome to the second round of the NFL draft. We took a day off. We're back. And the first player to come off the board in the second round is a guy who probably, if there weren't so many really good corners in this draft class, he's probably a first-round pick in a lot of other classes. But Cam Smith is coming off the board. I think he's a good fit for the Steelers, another blue-collar guy. He's going to, as he said, this is not my words, this is his words. He's going to drop his nuts, and he's going to, he's going to go after it. So every down, he's going to give you effort, and that's what you need as a corner in that system.
Yeah, and you know what? You go out and you draft a corner. I'm up here with Houston, and you know what? I'm seeing the corners fall, and I'm not going to let that happen to me. Let's go out and get somebody who is perfect for that San Francisco system that they're bringing to Houston. And I'm taking Emmanuel Forbes. Enough said. Needed a corner. Go out and get somebody who can play opposite Stingley.
Petrie, and Forbes is so much fun, by the way.
And Jimmy Ward. They just went out and got Jimmy Ward, too.
Oh, that's so much fun. All right, Arizona, you made your trade. You got your superstar. Now let's get a guy who your fans are going to love him because he's going to show up for you every game, every down. And that is Felix Ndukuzama from Kansas State, the big edge. He's athletic. He's not a superstar. He's not, the way Bijan is, but he is a guy who the team and the players and the fans are all going to love. That's all we've heard from Kansas State fans this whole cycle. So that is my pick here.
You need guys who can be cornerstones of your franchise. And we know that Bijan's a superstar, so that's where that comes from. But Felix Uzama, it's just the position. You need edges. And those are guys that, even though we don't view him as a superstar, can be cornerstones to a team that can win in the future. But I see an edge go off the board, and I'm playing another reactionary game here. I don't want to lose more edges right now at 35 and have to go pick somebody later. So for the Colts, I'm running the podium. I'm taking BJ Ojulari, somebody who maybe could have gone in the first round, but we see him at 35, and we're like, you know what? I think it's a steal. Let's go get our edge.
So You have a reactionary move. I'm going to make a reactionary move to your reactionary move. And I am going to get Adebawore from Northwestern for the Los Angeles Rams because the guy can play anywhere on the line. And apparently, according to the Ravens, he can play linebacker. So I just think it's a really fun fit, to be honest with you. Might not be the biggest need. It might not be the smartest pick. But him next to Aaron Donald is going to be a lot of fun. And you're going to be able to make things happen. And that's what you need to do if you're the Rams right now.
A big part of the Rams lacking in, pass rush at times was the fact that they could put Aaron Donald somewhere and you could dedicate 3 or 4 resources to him and nobody else is going to get home. You could move Aaron Donald and Adebawore absolutely everywhere and they'll probably still get home. But we're on the topic of, reactionary moves and you go out and you get somebody on the interior who can play in a lot of spots. I'm going to go out and get somebody on the interior as well. We took freaks with the first 2 picks for Seattle. I'm taking another one. It's Mozzie Smith. Let's
Tyler
go
loves
get somebody
freaks.
who can play on
Put
the
it on a
interior
t-shirt
and make plays. Honestly, the t-shirts might be coming, but the no promises. I'm going out and I'm getting Mozzie Smith. I think just keep adding on to this freak list that you're building of a draft.
All right. Number 38. This is a guy that I think I'm a bit higher on than most people. And like I would take him earlier than this. That is Anton Harrison. He feels like a really good pick for the Raiders. He needs a guy who can just put out there, keep Jimmy G upright. It just kind of feels like a necessary move. There's probably guys that they would still want on the board, but I feel like this is the smartest thing for them as a team.
Yeah, I think it's a really good pick, and he shouldn't be here, to be honest with you. He's way too good to be on the board at 38, especially in this class. But moving on to 39, we saw that there are a lot of big receivers in Carolina, and they've got a lot of guys who are kind of like big slot types, like DJ Chark. Well, let's go out and get somebody who can be a big outside receiver and somebody we trust to just go make plays and be
No
that
way you do
target for
this.
Bryce
No
Young.
way you do this.
And I know there's a lot of receivers on the board. We're seeing guys like Jordan Addison, Josh Downs, who are still here, but we're going out and we're getting a big body. It's Cedric Tillman, pick 39 for the Carolina Panthers.
I'm flabbergasted. I am flabbergasted. Well, you just picked a wide receiver. I'm the Saints. I'm in your division. I'm seeing that corners are already starting to run low, and I need a pure corner. That's what I need. So I'm going with DJ Turner. I know Keely Ringo's on the board. I don't know what's going to happen with Keely Ringo. Is he a corner in the NFL? A lot of rumblings that he might be a safety. So I'm going with the uber athletic DJ Turner.
Well, we're on the board here at 41 with the Cardinals now because of the trade we made earlier. And this team is having quite a draft right now. And I'm going to go out and I'm going to continue that. And I'm going to get somebody who, if you lose Budda Baker, you might want to transition him to safety. For now, he can play corner. And the whole point is getting more cornerstones of your franchise. And with the athletic profile, that's exactly what I think Keely Ringo can be at 41. Welcome to Arizona, Keely Ringo.
What a draft, dude. What a draft. Okay, moving on. The Jets, you already got a lineman, but you're trying to get Aaron Rodgers. So you're going to go out there and you're going to get another offensive lineman. You're going to get him a center. His name is John Michael Schmitz. He's a dog. We got to see him in Mobile. Everybody loves John Michael Schmitz. It makes sense to make this move. I know you don't really want to start 2 rookies on the offensive line with Aaron Rodgers. However, these 2 players are automatic upgrades from who you have.
John Michael Schmitz looks like a veteran out there on the field.
Yes.
He's somebody who can be
He also looks like a veteran in his face.
Dude, yeah, he's just big, and that's
Yeah.
and big, mobile, and somebody who can play in that system. But hey,
Ring.
I'm here. I'm the Jets at 43, and I'm thinking, hey, we just got out. We went out and we got the lineman. And we still haven't finished that deal yet. So I'm calling up the Packers, and I'm saying, hey, is he out of the cave yet? Is he ready to come home?
It was a hut. It was a hut.
Okay. Well, is he out of okay, wherever he was at? Is the darkness retreat over? For us,
over.
We're in the dark here and we could use some light. Will you take number 43 overall to come get Aaron Rodgers?
You want Aaron Rodgers for 43?
I mean, maybe send something a little sweetener back, but like,
All right, Aaron Rodgers and a 4th-round pick next year for 43.
yeah, we definitely need a little bit of a sweetener there because, you know,
Value
we don't
wise, it
even know
didn't
if
make
he's
sense. I
gonna
helped you out.
play. We
I
don't even
helped
know
you
if he's
out.
gonna play. We don't know how much he's gonna play after this year. Yeah, let's do. I'll give you 43 and a fourth. You guys get Aaron. I mean, we get Aaron Rodgers. We give you those picks, and now the Packers are on the clock, moving away from their quarterback. They're moving in the direction of Jordan Love, and they're probably gonna want to run the ball. And who's somebody who can play in that run game and just absolutely maul for you? Darnell Washington. Let's go
Jesus.
out and get another freak because that's just how I draft and that's how Green Bay drafts. And that's who we're taking because I feel he can be a great player for us, make plays in the run game, and really a better pass catcher than he gets credit for.
The guy that I'm about to name should probably go before Keely Ringo. He should probably go before DJ Turner. He probably won't, but he probably should. I'm the Falcons. I know that we just got a cornerback. I know we just did it. And I know we have AJ Terrell, but this is a guy who you can put inside. He can eliminate a tight end. You can put him outside. He can eliminate a side of the field. This guy can do it all. He's athletic. He's big. He is Julius Juju Brent.
You were so against calling him Juju before, but now
He
you're
got a chain that says Juju Snow. I feel like I'm into. I have to, you know.
okay. Well, fine. You and Zach Moss can be calling him Juju. It's great. All right. Not Zach Moss, Riley Moss.
What?
I said Zach Moss. Wow. I was thinking of Riley Moss at the combine. Insane.
Moving on.
Moving on. The Packers got another pick. We just got Rodgers. We're gonna go out and we're gonna go get somebody.
You
who
just
can play
got
safe.
Rodgers.
I mean, we just traded Rodgers. We just got the pick back for Rodgers.
There you
I
go.
can't speak anymore. Draft week. Been
It's
long.
taking a toll on us, people.
Yeah, but we're moving on. We just traded away Aaron Rodgers, and we could use a safety, Adrian Amos. We need somebody who can play alongside.
He's still on
Darnell
the team.
Savage. Is he? I mean, I was
I
thinking
don't
either we
think
moved
so.
on or somebody we need to move on from.
Isn't it like Rasul Douglas, their safety? I don't even know.
I know they wanted to move
Who
somebody to
cares?
safety.
Who cares?
I mean, I'm looking at the depth chart right now, and he's not even there anymore. I was thinking of his name because I was thinking they moved on from him this offseason. And I was like, I don't know if they already did or they're going to, but we're going out and we're getting a safety of the future to play alongside Darnell Savage. And who better on the board than Antonio Johnson? Somebody who's versatile, can play in some different spots and play alongside, we could have a great new safety tandem here in Green Bay.
Well, as the Patriots, we went with an athletic freak, a monster, if you will, in the first round. We're going to get back to, some basics. We're going to go back to some trench play. I got to listen to Bill Belichick talk about blocking a lot. The two things he talked about were wide receivers and blocking. Really crazy for a defensive coach. Wild to listen to. But I'm going Matthew Bergeron out of Syracuse. He has a lot of family support, and it's a family up there. He had a lot of family support down in Mobile, but it's a family up there in New England. He gets to stay up north. He likes the cold. He lives in the cold. Matthew Bergeron, you are a Patriot.
Yeah, and I think that's a great pick. Obviously, need more linemen. You said Syracuse likes the cold. But now, because of some trades we made before, we have an opportunity as the Chicago Bears to go out and get somebody alongside Khalil Herbert. We're going to say, hey, you know what we were really good at last year? Running the ball. And you know what we're going to continue to do? Run the ball. We have Khalil Herbert. We have Justin Fields, two running dynamic threats. But we could use somebody who can gash. And you know who the best gasher in this draft is?
Who is it?
Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yes, it
Alabama. Somebody who now, with the way that we're going to be playing, everyone's concerned, hey, he can't tote the rock 15, 20 times a game. He's a little small. He's not somebody you're going to be looking at as your true number ones, like the Derrick Henrys or the Jonathan Taylors of the world. But we're not looking for him to be that. We're looking for him to be explosive, and that's exactly what he's going to be here in Chicago.
Well, that's a good pick for Chicago. And if I see that as Lions, I'm thinking, hey, I've had myself a pretty good draft. But we got rid of TJ Hawkinson. We want a guy who can come in and fill that role, fill that void that's left in our hearts. So we're going to go out and we're going to pick Sam Laporta. We're going to get an Iowa tight end. and he is a mauler. He can run after catch because he just pushes people. It just makes a lot of sense to me, if I'm being honest.
He's a really fluid mover and somebody who can just make plays, and that's a great pick. But I'm sitting here and I'm Pittsburgh, and we got to go out, and we took Cam Smith earlier. We want to go out and we want to continue to help our quarterback, though, in Kenny Pickett, and go get him some help. So what would be better than going and getting him another receiver? We've got George Pickens. We don't know how long Deontay Johnson's realistically going to be with this team. Allen Robinson, we just spent like a 7th-round pick on. We don't know how good Allen Robinson is, but we know that there's a receiver that we probably had a 1st-round grade on and slipped to us here. We're going out and we're taking Jordan Addison.
Wide receiver 1 for Kenny Pickett. It worked. They're boys.
They already worked together. I think it's a great fit.
All right. I'm going to go with a guy that I am probably a lot higher than a lot of people too. This is another guy that I just really like him, and that's the reason I'm taking him. And we know that the Bucs have their own draft board because they picked Kyle Trask so early in that draft. So they definitely do their own thing when it comes to NFL football. And at pick 50, I'm picking Jalen Duncan. Big offensive tackle.
We saw him down in Mobile, and
monster,
big dude.
He's very nice dude. Also,
yeah, we did. We talked to him, and he was really a great guy. And you went out and you took an offensive lineman, and we got a little bit of a run on linemen here. And if I'm Miami, there's no reason this guy should be here. We have somebody who can go out, and Liam. I didn't even
realize he was still here.
Liam Eichenberg was arguably the worst player in football last year when it comes to offensive linemen. At least he was horrendous. So I'm sprinting to the podium. We can't be letting Tua get hurt again. We got to go out and get somebody who can make Tua's life easier. I'm getting Steve Avila, and I'm running to the podium to select him.
You know, if I'm the Seahawks with pick 52, I was really hoping Steve Avila would fall there because I would probably have the draft of a generation if he did. But there is another guy who's a monster, who's a freak. But he's also classically trained and can play the violin. He was also once a tight end. He's missing a few teeth, and his name is Cody Mock, and he is a Seattle Seahawk.
Let's go. A terrible rhyme, but we'll take it and we'll move on to 53, where Chicago, they went out and they were like, hey, we're going to beef up the defense. And we just keep taking Senior Bowl guys. This is now, 4 in a row here, I think? But
yeah,
another one right here, and it's Keanu Benton. You might be thinking Kalijah Kancey might be coming off the board, but hey, we want to go out and get somebody who is bigger and just can be nasty, and that's the kind of football that they play in the NFC North. And we want to go out and we want to go punch guys punch teams in the mouth, and that's the kind of thing that Keanu Benton can do. He played nose for Wisconsin, and he's not, necessarily a nose, and he still performed at a really high level there. He has a lot of versatility, and I think he can be a really great player for us in Chicago.
He's got a better moveset than a lot of edge rushers in this class. I'm going to be honest with you.
Oh, yeah.
He's got better moves than Isaiah Foskey. Not hard to do, but speaking of another defensive lineman, I'm going Kalijah Kancey. He's finally coming off the board. I think it's a fun fit for the Chargers defense. You like to have guys. They just have a lot of guys. Like, I don't really know what they plan to do on defense ever, but they have a lot of guys, and you want somebody who, I'm not saying he's Aaron Donald. Please calm down. But you want someone who could play that role of, you can move him around a little bit on the interior line, and he's gonna be able to speed to power.
He's gonna make plays in the pass rush game, and that's really you want to be explosive if you're the Chargers. You want to create big plays, and what's a better way to create big plays than get pressure? But moving on, it's another defensive lineman. The run's happening, and I'm taking Tuli out of USC. I figured we needed to keep beefing up if we're Detroit. We did not have nearly enough. We could not stop the run at all last year. So let's go out, take a defensive lineman, and just continue to get more physical. We just took Sam Laporta earlier in this round, a physical player. Tuli, another physical player. We're just going to go out and we're going to keep drafting guys who fit Dan Campbell's mantra and mindset.
I am taking a guy here with Jacksonville at pick 56, who's become kind of the forgotten cornerback of this class. I think he's really good athlete. He's coming off a torn ACL. That's probably why he's forgotten. And it is another Syracuse player, 2 second-rounders from Syracuse. Very impressive, Syracuse. Shout out. I don't know who your coach is, otherwise I would shout him out. But it is one Garrett Williams. You need a corner. Get him out there. Let him play. He's gonna be, he might need a little bit of time, but he's worth it. I'm gonna be honest with you. Watching him play, he's worth the time and the effort that it's gonna take to get him out there. When he flashes very hard. And for that reason, I think he is a great, great, great pick for the Jaguars.
All right. So we're sitting at pick 57 now, and it's the New York Giants. And I'm thinking, hey, we went out, we addressed some of our biggest needs, but we still got another one. Let's go out and get an interior offensive lineman, somebody who can play, hopefully center for us, play a multitude of spots. I'm going out, I'm getting Joe Tippmann out of Wisconsin. Go get somebody who could be a reliable offensive lineman for you. There's a team that made the playoffs last season. I want to continue to win. Let's do that up front.
As a Giants fan, I like the pick. People are talking about Joe Tippmann in the first for the Giants, which is wild. But we're gonna move on from that because I don't want to talk about those people. They're not very smart. At 58, everybody's talking about this team as getting a tight end in the first round. I don't think they need to get a tight end in the first round when you can get a guy like Tucker Kraft at 58. Tucker Kraft is the Gronk of his play level, which is what Tyler said in our tight end episode. And he's went to South Dakota State. So it'll be an adjustment, but you're gonna have a guy at tight end for a pretty good amount of time, I would say.
Yeah, I love Tucker Kraft. And moving on, we got the Buffalo Bills. And I figured you lost Tremaine Edmonds. Let's go out and get somebody who has potentially one of the highest ceilings in this class as far as linebackers are concerned. It's Drew Sanders, already really stout against the run. That's kind of something the Bills struggled with at times last year, allowing teams to run all over them. So I'm going out. I'm taking Drew Sanders. It's that
Drew
simple.
Sanders is a very good player. As an Alabama fan, love Drew. Wish the best for Drew. At 60, I'm going with a guy who is probably my number one corner left on the board. But he just feels like he belongs next to an Eli Apple type, and that is Tyreek Stevenson because he is a dog. He is a guy who's gonna go get it, and he's a Cincinnati Bengal. Really good draft for the Bengals so far.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And another team that's having a pretty stout draft, made some trades early on, and now, kind of sitting with their own picks. It's the Chicago Bears. And I figured, hey, you've already gone out of your way to try to boost a lot of your interior offensive line. You signed a lineman, I believe. But let's go out and let's go draft one. Let's go get somebody who can be really good for you. You already drafted an Ohio State offensive lineman. Let's go draft another one. It's Luke Whippler out of Ohio State. Coming to Chicago, let's get physical up front.
With rumors of Derrick Henry, with rumors of Bijan Robinson, with rumors of Jahmyr Gibbs, we have the Eagles getting none of those guys. We have the Eagles getting Zach Charbonnet and running a stable of running backs because you paid Rashard Penny a good chunk of change. Everybody loves Boston Scott, especially against the Giants. But Zach Charbonnet is a guy who could come in and split carries with those guys. You have three-headed monster now, which two of them are better than the other. But Zach Charbonnet and Rashad Penny can kind of carry your run game and let Jalen Hurts do his thing. He can run, he can throw, and it gives him reliable options so that he doesn't have to rely on his own legs. It works out great for all parties involved in this one.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a big Charbonnet fan. And you go from the Super Bowl losers to the Super Bowl winners here in the Kansas City Chiefs. And looking at their first pick, I was like, hey, maybe I'll consider Josh Downs. I don't think he's going to be there the next time we pick. But hey, it's 63. I didn't take Josh Downs, and neither did anyone else. He's sitting on the board here at 63, and I'd be very happy to have him on my team. I'm taking Josh Downs, somebody who can operate out of the slot. You lost to Juju Smith-Schuster. You lost Mecole Hardman. Now you have somebody who can operate out of the slot as a route runner, which is a type that you simply did not have on your roster. Josh Downs, pretty awesome player to close the second round.
And to open the third round, the Bears are killing it in this draft. I really like what they're doing. They're building through the trenches. They've got some pieces that, they just help out the overall development of your team. And this is another guy that's going to just do that for them. It's going to help out the overall development of this Bears team, and that is Derek Hall. I think Derek Hall has become very underrated. There's a few of these guys on the defensive line that have just kind of fallen off the radar, not at any fault of their own. They're just not getting talked about right now. And I think Derek Hall is one of them. You talk to coaches, you talk to personnel people, you talk to people at the Senior Bowl. Anyone who works with Derek Hall loves Derek Hall, and I think that's huge for the Bears. This is the type of guy they need.
Yeah, and talking about guys the teams could just use and need, I figured, hey, you're bringing in D'Amico Ryans now for the Houston Texans, and you're going to need some guys because that defense was not good last year. You signed some guys in the interior. You're getting better, and you really look like a team that could be very good in a very short amount of time. But I'm here to go add some more talent. You can never have enough guys up front. And I'm taking Siaki Ika, somebody who can just eat space in the run game. And that's kind of what you want. So the rest of your guys can go just make plays. You got Will Anderson earlier. You want to go eat up space so he can make plays? Go get a guy like Siaki Ika.
We talked a lot about this team and getting superstars, cornerstones, team builders. If this guy pans out for the Cardinals, he will be a superstar. He doesn't pan out, nobody will remember him other than Tennessee fans, and that is Jalen Hyatt. If it works out, huge for whoever's going to be playing quarterback there after Kyler Murray, because let's be honest, it feels like that is coming to an end. This will be huge for whatever quarterback comes next. And whatever quarterback starts the year, if Jalen Hyatt can hit the ground running and you just send him on streaks and he makes some plays for you.
You want to be, I mean, if you want to be the Arizona Cardinals, if you're going to be the Arizona Cardinals, you want to be explosive. And like you already went out and you got guys that you think can be cornerstone guys. And you got Bijan Robinson, who is the epitome of explosiveness. Go out and get somebody who now can be explosive in the pass game. You've got some of those guys but Hollywood Brown obviously traded picks for him. But Jalen Hyatt has this potential to be a next level deep threat. And why not go out and get him? And up next, we got a pair of Broncos picks. I'm going to make the first one. And he feels like a Bronco to me. I don't know.
This is his pick. I just want to make that abundantly clear.
It's somebody who is, as much as I was not a fan of, necessarily the production on tape, I love the athleticism here. And it's Andre Carter, and it's somebody who I think could be a better pro than they were a college football player out of Army. Andre Carter.
He was a really good college player, but he just, production-wise, he was a good college player. I'm just saying.
I know, but I think he can be an even better pro because of the athleticism. That's my point. So I'm taking Andre Carter.
I'm going to go and round out this Broncos draft class because they only got these two picks. Back-to-back jacks here. We're staying on the defensive side of the ball. We're shoring up that secondary because I believe they lost some depth pieces. This is a guy who you can sit with and develop with. It is Clark Phillips III from Utah. Was talked about with first-round hype and then kind of fell off the face of the earth. Just kind of forgotten in this process with guys like Brent's moving up and Tyreek moving up and DJ Turner moving up. He just there was no spot for Clark Phillips. And I think this is it. I think this is the spot for Clark Phillips.
Yeah, it gives him an opportunity to play as well as get better. And a lot of people are really high on him. And I think it's a really good spot. But moving on, I honestly think, for Hendon Hooker, I kind of like this spot being the Rams. I know you're not high on Hendon Hooker. I'm not the highest on him either. But if he's going to flourish in a passing attack, it's got to be somewhere where he can attack down the field. And there is no system. There's two systems in the league that run very similar downfield concepts that get guys open. And it's Miami and it's the Rams. And I'm taking Hendon Hooker for the Rams. You never know what's up with Matthew Stafford. You don't know what's up with that arm, and you don't know if Hendon Hooker is the quarterback of the future. But hey, it's a third-round pick. You take a chance on a guy, and worst comes to worst, maybe he just has a couple spot starts. But best case scenario, maybe he's someone who can play parts of the year for you if Matthew Stafford does go down.
Yeah, Hendon Hooker is going to win the Rams out of Caleb Williams' potential, and he's going to go to Arizona, and Rams fans will cry. Just warning you now. Number 70, we're getting to that point where you look at the list and you're like, oh, that guy's still there. Because there's a lot of really good talent in this group of guys where there wasn't that, really good pile of talent in the late 20s and stuff like that. And I'm going with Zach Pickens. He's a dog. Zach Pickens is a good pass rusher. He's not always on 100% of the time. But when he's on, he's probably the best defensive player on the field.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Zach Pickens is a monster when it comes to pass rush specifically. You want to see what he can be. Just watch that fourth quarter versus Kentucky. It's some of the best tape of any player I've seen from an individual game. But I'm taking Ravon Dexter with my next pick, another interior defensive lineman, and somebody who I feel can be, I don't want to lose out on the interior defensive lineman if I'm the Saints. I want to go out and I want to build up front because I want to support Derek Carr and go get him, players on defense so they can go try to score points. And I think that Dexter can be a really good player for this defense. We addressed defensive line earlier with Keon White on the edge. Now I get somebody inside. Enough said.
Listen, people might not be happy with this pick. There's still some really good wide receivers on the board. I think this guy, paired with CJ Stroud, you traded away your second. You couldn't get CJ Stroud, one of the, weird little group of wide receivers with Cedric Tillman and guys like that. You couldn't get any of those guys. So you come in and at pick 72, you get a guy who started 3 years for a team that won the Big 12 championship, I believe 2 of those 3 years, in Marvin Mims. He's gotten to play with Spencer Rattler. He's gotten to play with Caleb Williams. He's gotten to play with whatever his name is, the kid from UCF. Now he gets to play with CJ Stroud, and he gets someone who can put the ball on him and let him do his thing in open space. That's what he's good at. I think it's a really good fit. I think him and Burks would be a lot of fun. And I think if CJ Stroud is the quarterback, great. If it's still Tannehill and you're like trying to work on Stroud, which would be a weird decision,
you've got somebody with explosiveness, and that's
it still works.
Yeah, and honestly, Marvin Mims is the kind of receiver that Ryan Tannehill can have success with. He likes those kind of guys that he can get the ball to like that. But moving on, another AFC South team. It's the Houston Texans once again, and I figured, hey, you're running outside zone stuff. You may not have the quarterback yet, although after this pick or after some picks coming, we might have to work on something. But you're running an outside zone scheme. You need guys to block in that. And there's no better guy who fits that system on the board right now than Chandler Zavala. Can come in, play guard for you at NC State, and just be a high-level offensive lineman in the future. And that's what you're looking for. You're not looking for guys who are going to necessarily be the answer right away, but this might be a guy who not only has plug-and-play potential, but also, the potential to develop as a really good player over time. And now, since I believe that's the last pick for the Houston Texans.
Hold on.
I'm making a call.
Hold on. I know who you're making this call to. They want to see how the board falls because they have a lot of picks at the bottom half of this draft, and they might need another in the bottom half of this. So we're going to keep cooking, but the phones are hot, people. There's some things going on behind the scenes that we are going to get to when we get to the hundreds. But for now,
I'll sit. They're not picking up just yet, but just know
the phones are hot.
Houston's calling up. They're dialing.
The phones are hot. Trenton Simpson is coming off the board. I really don't know how they got here, and I feel like the Browns always get a really good linebacker late. It just always happens. Somebody always falls to them. But they like weird shaped and sized linebackers, and this is the perfect one. Trent Simpson is the perfect guy for them.
Yeah, and talking about perfect fits, I mean, hey, it's the Atlanta Falcons. You know who their quarterback is? Desmond Ridder. Where did he play? Cincinnati. Why not? And also, this is just a type of player that the Falcons lack. We want to go out and we want to get weapons for Ridder to see if he really is the guy. We're not sure, but at the very least, we can have somebody explosive for whoever comes in the following years. I'm going out. I'm picking a guy that me and you spoke to.
Our guy.
It's Tyler Scott, the most explosive man in college football. Let's go out and get our man Desmond Ridder, one of his old receivers.
Really good pick there. I feel like it's bound to happen. It is going to happen. But pick 76, this guy also feels like a Patriot. We said before the last pick that they had, this guy feels like a Patriot. This guy also feels like a Patriot. It is one Jordan Battle. I got to watch him for what feels like 18 years at Alabama. Guy's been there a while, but he's been a leader through all of his time there, and he's made plays to win championships. and that is kind of what you think of when you think of the Patriots, is guys who make plays to win. And that's what Jordan Battle does.
Yeah, Bill Belichick loves his winners, loves his guys from, big SEC schools, and there's no bigger SEC school than Alabama. Well, you went with a safety. I'm seeing there might be a run. Hey, I'm the Rams. Took Hendon Hooker earlier, but now I want to go out and I want to go get a safety.
Hey, I'm the Rams.
I'm taking Sidney Brown, and I think that Brown can be a really high level player for this defense. They like to move their guys around. They like guys who can make plays in the box, make plays up high, make plays in the nickel. That's exactly what Sidney Brown does. Think of the kind of role that the 49ers had Talanoa Hufanga in last year. That's the kind of player that Sidney Brown can be if you put him in the correct role. I think he's already really strong as just a really good football player, but also with the Rams, they might have a longer, window before they're good again. So give him time to develop into what can hopefully be a great player.
Yeah, I'm convinced Tyler just likes saying Ufunga's name. And he just does it all the time whenever I'm talking to him. So we're gonna move on, and we're gonna get a big name right now. He's a hot name right now. I don't really know why. All of a sudden, everyone is kind of talking about this guy. We're getting early second round hype. But the Packers are taking a wide receiver. I know, shocking. They are going with Jonathan Mingo. Everyone's talking about Jonathan Mingo right now. We were talking about Jonathan Mingo at the Senior Bowl, and nobody wanted to listen to us. And now all of a sudden, he's everyone's favorite wide receiver in the draft class. And I'm like, guys.
Yeah, and now all of a sudden he's a first round, late first round, early second round guy. I totally get where you're coming from.
We like Mingo. We like
him
Mingo
a lot. I think he's a really good football player.
We were talking about Mingo, but now everybody's high on Mingo, and it feels like everyone's too high on Mingo. So we're going to move on.
Yeah, and I mean, the Packers are going out and they're getting, in my opinion, it's kind of a steal still. I'm not necessarily going to say that I think he's like a first round player or anything, but at 78, that's somebody who has X potential, and you don't really find many of those guys. And you took a wide receiver, and if I'm the Colts, I'm going out and I'm taking a wide receiver. We've got Pittman, we've got Alec Pierce. We lack this slot weapon. Who is this slot, just a guy who's going to eat from the slot and potentially, has played on the outside when he was at Houston? I'm taking Tank Dell, a guy that I spoke to at the Senior Bowl, guy that we got to watch absolutely tear up every DB that was there. If you were there and you were being guarded by Tank Dell, he was taking your ankles. So I'm picking Tank, and I really don't think that could have gone much better for a team like the Colts that could just use a dynamic slot weapon.
So this is the Jets pick because they got it in the trade with Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to get a guy who they have so many fun players on this defense, right? That's kind of their thing. They just got guys who are fun to watch, fun to, they just have a good group of guys right now. And I think they're missing that kind of hybrid linebacker. This guy was a safety. This guy was a wide receiver. This guy knocks heads off, even though he's not the biggest guy. And that is Henley from Washington State. Excuse me, I almost just choked there. Really good linebacker. But we've been going for a while, people. This is a long mock draft. All right. I'm losing it a bit, but I think this is a fun fit, and I think he would be a lot of fun in New York.
And you took a player that you think could be a lot of fun for your team in New York, and I took a player that I think could be a lot of fun for this team in the Lions. And hey, you went out, you signed David Montgomery, and I really like David Montgomery. I think he's a really good back, can be consistent for you, especially behind that offensive line. But he doesn't have the explosiveness that you're looking for. You want somebody with that long speed and somebody who can sit behind Montgomery, maybe just play some of those, second and short type of roles where he could gash a defense, play some of those, but then sit back and develop as a runner because he needs time, but the potential is there. It's Devon Achane from Texas A&M. Really fun back to watch, honestly. Really explosive, plays bigger than his size. I think that's a big thing for him. And like I said, he has time to sit behind Montgomery, kind of be the lightning to his thunder, and then eventually develop into a complete back that you hope for him to be.
I really like Achane, but there is he's got some work to do. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to go with another guy who's got some work to do. And he's going to Tampa, and he's a corner, and his name is Darius Rush. I like Darius Rush a lot. I do think there are some things Darius Rush needs to work on to be a, really good NFL cornerback. I think he's a good enough developmental piece that you can give him some snaps as Tampa, because let's be honest, you're not winning the division. Even though it's a really, really weak division, Baker Mayfield and Kyle Trask ain't winning you this division. So I'm going with Darius Rush so that you can give him snaps, you can let him develop while you figure out what the direction of your franchise is.
Makes sense. You took a corner. I'm going to take a corner now for a team that I think, honestly, if things go right, could win the division, but also is set up in the long term. We already took Anthony Richardson. Obviously, I want to go out and get another, guess what, athletic freak. This time it's Corey Trice out of Purdue, somebody who just has an extremely high ceiling,
Love Corey.
athletic, like just somebody who I think could be a beast alongside Tariq Woolen in that defense.
He could be this year's Tariq Woolen,
that
type of steal.
That kind of steal, somebody who comes in right away and just becomes one of the better corners in football and has an extremely high ceiling. That seems to be what they produce in Seattle. And why not go out and just get another one? I think it's a great pick here.
I did this for Tyler. This is a pick that I made for one Tyler DeSena. I almost said his middle name, but I'll withhold that information. It is tight end for now the Miami Dolphins, but once Penn State, Bretton Strange. You guys rolled out the gosh darn red carpet for the kid at his pro day. I'm pretty sure I almost said Will Greer's mom. Whoever their owner is, his mom was there. That's how many people they brought to this goddamn pro day. But yeah, Bretton Strange, you are a Miami Dolphin.
Yeah, they definitely rolled out the red carpet at his pro day. Mike McDaniel was there bumping music with the whole team. They were like putting headphones on him and having them like see how much he liked their playlist, the whole thing. But Bretton Strange, I get it. Obviously really needed a tight end. But moving on, a team that just took a tight end earlier in this draft, it's the Chargers. And hey, you got Justin Herbert. You might as well get
you, Alex Katzen.
Another big weapon. You have a guy like Mike Williams, but this is somebody who can be he's even bigger and can be a huge weapon for you. It's A.T. Perry. I got to watch him in person when they took on Florida State, and that man's a beast, dude.
Yeah, he's
A.T. Perry, honestly, has some of the highest potential in this class just because of his size, and honestly, his route running at that size, really strong player. You already drafted Michael Mayer. Why not go out and just give Justin Herbert the full load of weaponry for him to work with?
All right. Speaking of weaponry, speaking of high potential, this isn't a guy who's going to he's not going to keep Lamar. This is not what this pick is for. This pick is for, hey, Lamar doesn't work out. We have OBJ on a 1-year deal. We still need a good wide receiver. And this is another risk. They're going to have two very injury-prone wide receivers. And I realize that now. Didn't realize it when I made the pick. It's Michael Wilson. I'm going Michael Wilson from Stanford. I think it's, Michael Wilson is either going to be one of the best receivers in football, or we're never going to talk about him. That's obviously an exaggeration. But if he can stay healthy, he's going to be really good, man. Like really, really good. It's just, can he stay healthy? And apparently his medical is checked out, but there are still some risks, obviously, with the injuries that he's had. So he goes here at 86, although he has the talent to go much, much, much higher than this.
Definitely. Michael Wilson dominated in Mobile for the little bit we got to see of him. And moving on, there's a new defensive coordinator in town for Minnesota, and his name is Brian Flores. And he likes guys who can man up, play that cover zero, and just go out and play really physical, tough defense. And that's exactly what Eli Ricks does. Luke can tell you, obviously, watching so much Alabama.
He didn't play because he loves man so much. He told Saban, I want to play man. Saban said no, and then he didn't play until like the LSU game. So really helped our season so much, Eli. Thank you so much. We love you.
Exactly the point. I think that really sums it up. Why not go get somebody who wants to play man? And that's just exactly what Brian Flores is going to do for you in Minnesota. Not much else to say there.
I'm picking a guy that you have a lot of experience watching. At 88 for the Jacksonville Jaguars, Jamie Robinson. You already kind of helped your secondary out. You got a corner earlier in the draft, I believe. help a little bit more. Jamie he says he wants to be a little bit of a center fielder type. I don't know if that's really in the cards for him, but he's going to be a good safety for you. He's going to play back there, and he's going to be a good safety in the NFL. I don't doubt that. I just think you're going to have to work with him when it comes to reading the field a little bit. That's about all you're going to have to worry about.
Jamie had a killer Senior Bowl playing center field. I got to talk to him for the media availability at the Pro Day, talk to him about that experience. He just wants to show his versatility. The guy just wants to go out and play ball, and he really understands the safety position. Obviously, there's a lot of different things that go into that. Yeah, but I think he honestly could play deep, can play in a multitude of different spots. But somebody else that we saw at the Senior Bowl, and immediately the dude caught my eye and became one of my favorite players in this entire draft class. And it pains me to say, but I know I talked to Luke. He doesn't think, you said that you don't think Saquon Barkley is necessarily coming back.
I don't think so.
And if he's not in the cards long term, you might want to go get somebody who can be extremely explosive and one of the most creative backs in the entire class. My favorite back to watch in the entire class. It's Tyjae Spears. The dude is explosive. There's no running back who moves in the way that he does. He just disappears in front of defenders to a point where, they're going to make the tackle and all of a sudden he's behind them. The dude is awesome. I think that if he can be the number one down the road, great. If not, you have somebody really explosive next to Saquon.
It could even just put pressure on Saquon to sign his contract. Like, that's what it could come down to. And you have a safety net now. And speaking of running backs, Tony Pollard got franchise tag. You let go of Zeke. You need a power back. You say you want to run the ball more. Hey, Mike McCarthy, this one's for you, pal. Tank Bigsby. I'm a huge fan of Tank, mostly because he won Alabama a game versus them. Shout out for that one, pal. We really needed it. It led us to, an SEC championship. But nonetheless, he's been the talk of the town in Auburn since he was like a senior in high school. Like, he's been known. And he didn't have a great year this year, which I'm blaming on coaching because Brian Harsin is horrible. So I'm hoping he can have a bounce back year and a bounce back career, to be honest with you, in Dallas, although I don't like the Cowboys. But,
Yeah. Well,
those are the breaks.
Moving right along, we got another running back. And like I said earlier, I want to reestablish that physical mentality in Buffalo. And there's nobody who runs more angry in this draft than Roschon Johnson. Literally a former quarterback, and they had the dude playing like fullback reps. He can do everything. I think he's a really great power back to go alongside James Cook and, the stable that they have in place.
It's a really good pick for the Bills. It just feels right. Speaking of things that just feel right, the Illinois safety, yes, the other Illinois safety, Jartavius Martin, is a Cincinnati Bengal. He's staying in orange, and their secondary is so good now with the picks that we've made today, including Jartavius Martin, who he doesn't get all the hype because obviously his teammate at the exact same position is a very, very good football player and is going to go higher than him, but he's just as good as his counterpart.
Yeah, really strong safety duo there, obviously. I think we move right along here to the Carolina Panthers. And this one's simple. You can never have enough edge depth. I went out and I got you an edge. It's Byron Young out of Tennessee. Got a new defensive coordinator in there, new head coach. Why not go out and get yet another edge?
This one is extremely simple for the Eagles. Hodges Tomlinson. He's related to, that Tomlinson, the one you're thinking of, LT. He's a corner from TCU, and he's an Eagle. It makes sense. They need another corner. They need corner depth because right now it feels like they only have two on their roster. Moving right along, Tyler, you are back on the clock.
I am. And there's nothing better if you're a Super Bowl winning team or a team competing for Super Bowl to just have a stable of guys who are really good along the edges and have some really good moves. And there might not be any better individual move from any pass rusher in this class than Isaiah Foskey's long arm. And he's sitting here at 95, and I'm thinking, hey, you know what? Let's go out. Let's get another pass rusher. Isaiah Foskey, welcome to the Chiefs.
We were talking about star power, and sometimes in order to facilitate star power, you need somebody who is going to be a brick and mortar guy. And that's what you're getting with Byron Young. You are a Cardinal. It's just going to help the rest of the guys that you just drafted settle in on the defense because Byron Young will go in there and he will eat up blocks.
Yeah, definitely good player. And I took another Alabama player with the next pick. It's Washington. We traded up for a corner earlier. Let's go out and get somebody who can move around the offensive line. Sam Howell might not be the quarterback of the future, but you can't figure that out unless you've got offensive linemen up front. It's Tyler Steen.
Tyler Steen, very smart guy, graduated from Vanderbilt. And speaking of smart guys, this guy went to Wake Forest. He's got a great brain on him, but he was not invited to the combine, which is a wild miscarriage by the NFL. And that's a word you can use, Tyler. Kobe Turner is a Brown. He is going to Cleveland. All right. He's very, very good. He's very underrated. He's one of those guys that just slipped through the cracks somehow. Didn't get the combine invite, but teams love him. And I've heard so many good things about Kobe Turner. So he's coming off the board here. He can play next to Myles Garrett.
Definitely. And hey, the San Francisco 49ers have 3 picks here, and we wanted to see how the board turned out. But let's go make the first of their 3 picks. They need more safety depth. You can never have enough of it in this league, the amount of teams that attack down the field. We're taking Jair Brown out of Penn State, the safety. I figured, hey, let's just go get some more defensive backs, like I said, more depth, and guys who down the road could be big contributors for you, especially being a team that's paying a lot of guys a lot of money. You just paid Javon Hargrave on the interior of the defensive line. You've got a lot of guys that'll probably be leaving because you keep paying these big money contracts. Let's go out and fulfill some of these pipelines.
With pick 100, I'm replacing the 2 tight ends that the Raiders lost with Luke Musgrave. He didn't test well, and it's really going to hurt his draft stock. We both know it. Even though we think he's a good player. He's a top 5 tight end in this class.
I compared him to Darren Waller, like a light Darren Waller. So, I think that's kind of a similar player, somebody who can attack down the field, and I think it's a strong pick.
It's a weird tight end class because there's fits that aren't going to work for him that are going to push him further down the board, and that leaves him at pick 100.
Yeah, definitely a strong pick there. And I think San Francisco, obviously you lose Mike McGlinchey. You got to go out and you got to get a tackle. But let's go get somebody who can develop because, you might be able to go get a tackle that could play right now, might be not great. But Blake Freeland has one of the highest ceilings in this class. And if you can turn him from, kind of just the unrefined mauler he is into somebody who could be a top tackle in the league, there's no team that is better equipped to do that than San Francisco. I figured, hey, let's go out. Let's go get Blake Freeland, and let's go maul teams.
So with the last pick here of the 3rd round, we are going to call up a team before we make this pick, and it's not about this pick. It is about 2 picks down the line, 104. Listen, we got to offload Trey Lance. It has to happen. It's just got to happen. I mean, there's a team that just hired a guy from this system who was there when we drafted Trey Lance. I don't know if Houston wants to pick up the phone here, but I'm going to call Houston, and I'm going to offer them Trey Lance for 104 and a conditional 2024 3rd-round pick. Tyler, how do you feel about that?
All right, so the condition on this has got to be him either. Wait, what is it? Is it him playing?
It's game started.
Okay, so what you're telling me is that if Trey Lance plays a certain number of games, it'll go from a 4th to a 3rd. So right now it's 2. You know what? We didn't draft a quarterback. We went out and we got a lot of things that can help a quarterback right now. Took JSN. We got a lot of really good pieces. I'll say yes. I want to go bring in a quarterback. Hey, worst comes to worst, Trey Lance isn't great. You gave up 2 day 3 picks for him. We might be bad enough to go get somebody in 2024. I'm taking the deal. Trey Lance, welcome to Houston.
And now you have a pick 2 picks away from here. You can afford to take a risk, and you can go with one Keitrell Clark, cornerback out of Louisville. And that is how we are going to wrap up this 3-round mega mock draft that we are putting out for all of you. We hope you enjoyed. We hope you liked it. We got more mocks coming. Our final mock is coming, and that is going to be the big one, the one that really, really matters. We'll be running through a full first round with trades. We are the Weeball Podcast. Like, comment, subscribe, leave a rating on Spotify. Big things coming your way after this draft and during this draft. Thank you very much, and Weeball.